Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pearls of Wisdom with Nirmal Bang. I'm Avan Dabash. With the growing steel demand in the country and the government's focus on critical minerals, Hindustan Zinc is a company that's at a pivotal moment. What are their strategies to capitalize on these opportunities? What are the key priorities over the next 5 years? Well, let's find out all of that and so much more. Today, we're joined by Mr. Sandeep Modi. He's the Chief Financial Officer of Hindustan Zinc. So let's get straight to it and dive in to understand a little bit more about the company. Thank you so much for taking time out to join in. Now, we have seen the company's performance over the last few quarters, and you have managed to very decently outperform some of the other metal companies. Can you just take us through what the company is doing and how you're successfully delivering this strong performance? What is it that the shareholders of the company will see when it comes to your strategy versus some of the other companies within the space?
So, if you see Hindustan Zinc, it's a completely unique company compared to other metal sector company. We are fully backward integrated. When I say fully backward integrated, we have our own raw material, which is the concentrate for the producing the zinc. That gives the edge compared to any other metal and mining company in the zinc sector, not only global India but globally as well. That gives us the best advantage of the cost. So at any kind of cost level, we can survive, and we are the lowest cost producer globally in case of the zinc. That's how this makes the company very unique in terms of the backward integration, and that's how compared to other metal mining companies, our profitability at any point of time has been EBITDA margin more than 45%, even during the COVID period. Even in the low LME kind of environment in the FY24, we delivered the 47% of the EBITDA margin, and currently it's around 55%. So the important part is that how do you manage the cost? So raw material cost is protected through the backward integration, and the power is also protected with the 50% domestic coal consumption.
Right. So, Mr. Modi, how should the hedging strategy of the company really present itself, and what is the outlook when it comes to your future investments and your future borrowings?
As far as hedging is concerned, so as I say, we have a good EBITDA margin of 55%, and our objective remains that we achieve whatever the market gives us to us on a monthly average basis, whatever the zinc, lead, silver we sell. However, at some point of time, we remain opportunistic as well. So when because we are into the business, we know what is the LME level which can be surviving or which can be short term, lower or higher. At that point of time, we take some business call, which I will say more from the opportunistic to create the shareholder value and profitability. See, such thing was done in FY23, where we hedged around 20% of the zinc volume, and we earned almost 800 crore rupees extra over and above the market prices. Similar thing we did, but at a very small scale in this financial year FY25. We are almost 150 crore rupees extra over and above the market prices. So we hedge at the LME, which is higher. Suppose today I am sitting in the month of March, I hedge at if I believe that market is going to be a temporary bullish and not going to be later. So I may hedge in a June sitting at today at $3,000. When the June price is actually is $2,900, I get the $100 extra. That has been a strategic. As far as the investment and borrowings are concerned, uh, we have a large treasury of around 10,000 crore rupees of the investment, and our most of the investments are parked into the long-term bonds, which comprises of the tax-free bond, zero coupon bonds, and perpetual bond, which earns a much better return, being the long-term. And the borrowing, we have been a mix of the commercial paper. We are now going to issue the NCDs as well, and the term loan and the repo borrowing. And what I can tell that without getting into the numbers, our post-tax investment return is higher than the post-tax interest cost. So we have a positive arbitrage on our interest income point of view compared to the cost.
Sure. What about the outlook on India's role in the global zinc market? Any views on what kind of factors are driving the domestic consumption, given the fact that global players at a time like this are cutting down their production guidance? So, any outlook on pricing that you can share for zinc and silver?
See, India is in a completely different situation compared to the global. Indian steel, if you see, has grown significantly, 10-12% growth, and currently it's around 140 million ton of the steel requirement. And as the Prime Minister Mr. Modi has set up that by 2047 we should become the Viksit Bharat, and the infrastructure plays a bigger role. And any industry or any country is measured from the infrastructure from the growth point of view. And if you see from that point of view, the requirement of steel will be around 500 million ton by 2047 and 300 million ton by the 2030. Compared to currently, we are producing as a country 130, 140 million ton. With that, the zinc story comes into the play from the Indian perspective. If you say the globally, the zinc peers have been growing at a very marginal scale. Some are actually downwards, minus 2% to plus 2%. However, Hindustan Zinc has been growing CAGR of 4 to 5% from last 4 to 5 years. And that is more on account of the Indian domestic demand. Indian domestic demand of the steel is quite good, and accordingly, the galvanization use, which is the largest use of the zinc in the industry, so that has been growing. And as we move towards the 300 million ton, the Indian zinc requirement itself will be around 2 to 2.5 million ton. That's how our growth strategy come, that Hindustan zinc should become also the 2x of the growth globally. The zinc production has been stable 1% CAGR if you see the last 10 years, but India has been a 5%, and Hindustan Zinc being the only company, we are leading this. We capture the almost 75% percent plus of the domestic market share. Almost all the large steel players and lead producers are our loyal customers, and we have been a very good quality and cost competitive supplier to them. So it's more about the Indian story compared to the global story. So globally it may be different, but as the India is growing, steel is growing, Hindustan Zinc is growing. And silver is a Indian requirement is around 6,000 ton to 7,000 ton of the silver annually, and we are producing only 700 to 750 ton of the silver. So still, I think is a huge scope. So as we double our production, steel production will be doubled, but still we will be around 20% of the India's silver demand. So I think still there is a huge growth, and there is no new mine, or not at all, not only new, there is no mine of the silver producing in India, and we are the only producer of the silver in India through the primary route, and globally we are the third number in terms of the silver production.
And given the fact that we've seen growth in steel production, there's strong projections by 2030. How is Hindustan Zinc strategizing, and what is the plan to take advantage of the kind of growth that we're seeing in the domestic market?
So as I said earlier, that steel industries is going to be growing, and a commitment is there from the and government has been stating around 300 million ton by 2030. That's the next 6 years. With the 300 million ton of the steel requirement, zinc requirement will be around 2 to 2.5 million ton, and we are only producing currently around round of 1 million ton. So that's how the Hindustan zinc is at the right place. Why should we be venturing into the doubling the production? We did our last large mining expansion around 6 7 years back. Now I think it's the right time for Hindustan Zinc to double the production, so that by 2030, the way steel demand grows up to 300 million ton, or production capacity grows to 300 million ton, we also takes, because mining projects takes time to 3 to 4 years. By 2028-29, we also become the almost 2 million ton of the metal production. That's how the zinc story matches with the overall steel demand and production capacities in India.
That's very interesting. And the company has also been sustaining the lowest zinc cost, positioning itself globally since a very long time. How do you plan to sustain the same with your expansion plans?
So as I said, any company which has to sustain its cost has to be backward integration. So more and more backward integration will help to sustain the cost. So if you see quarter on quarter, I think for last 15, 16 quarter, our cost has been going significantly down, and we believe that our right cost design should be $1,000, which is currently this year will be around 1,050, $1,060. There are various levers. One is that we are a volume driven company, and in our kind of company structure, 35% of the cost remain fixed cost. So more and more volume, you absorb the higher fixed cost, so per ton of the cost goes down. Second, power is the 40% in my cost bucket of $1,060, and that 40% power, I can do the backward integration, either buying the coal mines and do the stable power cost, or I go through the renewable energy. So what we decided, we have ventured into the renewable energy by partnering with the Serentica Renewable, which is a part of the group company. We have done the power delivery agreement with them for our 70% of the power requirement to be fulfilled through the renewable energy. That power delivery agreement is a quite unique in the industry. It is linked with the US dollar. We being a natural hedge company because we are the net dollar surplus in India selling outside selling our exchange rate is the whatever the market rate is there we get from the market, and that rate which we are locked in for the with the Serentica for supply of the 70% round the clock power is a flat rate for the next 25 years. So there is no inflation going to be in the power cost, so that makes me completely backward integration as far as the power cost is concerned. uh, Out of the 40% requirement, 70% is the locked in with the Serentica. So, and third, we are far from the mines of the coal mines of the Odisha or the Chhattisgarh, almost 1200 kilometer, and also from the port. So when we buy the coal, there's a huge logistic cost involved. And by going into the renewable energy, it serves a three purpose for me. One is the ESG, and that's how the company has been the ranked number one globally by the S&P in the ESG ranking. So ESG objective is achieved. So my 70% of the production will be through the renewable energy by 2028. This year we are exiting 15%. Next year will be 35%, 27 55%, and 28 almost 70%. Then secondly, how it helps my cost. Every increase of the 2% increase in the renewable energy share has a lesser cost compared to my coal generation cost or the thermal power generation cost. So when I move from 15% to 70% in next 3 years, I have a clear visibility that $35 cost will further got reduced from the current level. And as we move more and more towards the volume increase, my fixed cost absorption will be higher, better. So my cost is so we are well prepared and well planned that my cost has been going down this way. And next year when we go to the market or will give our guidance, it will be much better. It will be more better or it will be better compared to this year as well. This is more from the cost point of view. Second, we focus more and more on the AI, digital, and how we make our operations better. For our kind of company, the recoveries from the ore to metal is the key parameter. So we have over the last 5 to 10 years, this company has deployed the best of the technology available to the world's kind, Australia, Africa, from the mining point of view. So our recoveries from the smelters, taking one example, Agucha mine, we used to have recovery 34-35% in 2 years back. Currently, we are almost 45%. So as you improve the recovery, that capex is required, but at the same time, it becomes your permanent benefit. So your volume increases. Every 1% recovery improvement will be 10,000 ton of the metal extra for me. And that's come at a free of cost. So it's a dollar per ton. My cost keeps on going. So it's more on account of how you think about the backward integration, how you keep investing into the right technology, because beyond a point, manpower cannot help you the cost.
So, Mr. Modi, we've also noticed that the company has been maintaining the mine life of more than 25 plus years historically. So, how is the company able to really sustain the mine life for such a long period?
So that credit goes to our exploration team and the geology from our own team. We also take the best of the help from the experts from the outside of the India and the global consulting firms. Last 10 years, if you see, our R&R has been always more than 25 years. And every year, whatever we deplete, we add more and more into that. So we have a Java is the mine where the only 25-30% of the areas is still explored. So we have a huge unexplored areas available. So that will be adding more and more from the resources point of view. And the good part is that we have not got by and large any surprises when we go from resources to reserve conversion. Our success rate has been almost 85 to 90%. That again goes to the best of the technology. We are also going to use the AI and ML in the exploration, which will help to add have a better predictability in the lesser time and also saving the cost. So these are the techno. So we are the first company in India or anywhere somebody does the any new thing in the exploration area. They come to Hindustan. Would you like to take this forward? And we give that platform. So we have got immensely benefit out of it. The people have experimented on us, and we've allowed the platform, and we have got the benefit out of it. We also have a set up a mining advisory council only focusing on the exploration, which comprises of the three people who are the industry veterans from the mining industry. They also provide us the right inputs, which are the areas to be explored, which are the areas to be expedited, what are the risks are there which should be the mitigated. So I think the any mining company, these are the backbone for us, because production will happen day today and tomorrow, but this is the a function which has been quite focused by the Hindustan Zinc to ensure that we don't only mine for today, but we produce for the future and protect our future mine life as well.
Right. And can you share with us, because given the fact that we've seen Hindustan Zinc being recognized as a precious metals company, what is your take on this? How is it that you're looking at the demand for silver that's evolving in industrial applications? What's the outlook?
So if you see, till around 2 years back, market was not in recognizing us as a precious metal company. Then what we did, we engaged one of the investment banker, and we found out that we are not getting the right valuation of the silver. If you see, our 40% of the EBITDA is coming from the silver, and however, when the EV EBITDA multiple is given by the analyst, they take only zinc into the factor. So we engage with the various analysts. We also announced the demerger around 1.5 year back, for breaking the company into three parts: zinc, silver, and the tailing recycling business. So tailing recycling business is still in the nascent stage. We have to yet to lock in, but surely the market recognize, when we announce that this we are the only player of the precious metal silver in India through the primary route. We are the having the SK mine, which is the world's second largest underground mine, and having the highest silver production in not only India but globally, third silver largest producer. So these are the leadership position we were able to narrate to the market. Of course, we delivered our best ever silver production also last year. If you see, in the 10 years back in 2014, we were almost like 23rd or 24th rank globally in the silver production, where we have focused on the silver production. We changed our strategy whether we should optimize the lead production or zinc production and increase the silver. That strategy also worked well. Of course, silver also become the bullish. If you see the last 1 year or 2 years, silver prices also got almost 60 to 70% up. I think all these things with the right narrative put us into the place that we are the precious metal company. So we have a two segment. One is the base metal, zinc and lead, and second is the precious metal, silver. So market has recognized and understood. It was our job also to make people aware about it, and we also changed our tagline like it's a more earlier it used to be Hindustan Zinc. We say now zinc and silver of India. And third, about the silver prices are bullish. So I think all put together uh, give a great story. And third is about that we also started importing various technology in India from earlier China, that whatever the waste we generating that also contain the silver. And we have put up the fumer. It's called a technology called fuming in the smelter, where the you can recover the silver from that fuming plant. That has also given us the benefit of the silver production higher. Also, people recognize that this is the company which focus on the silver. And lastly, before about the going to pieces, we also tag now ourselves as an energy transition metal. So I think silver is a key energy transition metal in this regard. So globally also people have recognized, and that's how we have been basically able to narrate our story from the precious metal company. And as I said, we've also bid for the gold mine which is near to Udaipur. So we are very clear to make our company in a manner that focus on the base metal, critical mineral, energy transition metal, and the precious metals.
I wanted to also touch upon the announcements and updates, because you guys seem to be diversifying into alloy and fertilizer at the company level. What is the thought process behind this? And more importantly, what kind of demand are you seeing in these sectors specifically?
So, first I will start with the zinc alloy. So, if you see, what is the purpose of Hindustan Zinc? Hindustan Zinc's purpose is to fulfill the whole zinc requirement of India by Hindustan Zinc itself. So, in the philosophy of government of India of becoming the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So, if you see, India has been a market of zinc alloy around 30 KT, 30,000 ton, and we thought that our kind of company should also venture into the zinc alloy, so that rather than importing by the Indian customers, we can supply from Hindustan Zinc. And that's why we set up the Hindustan Zinc Alloy Private Limited as part of the Hindustan Zinc 100% subsidiary. And I'm happy to share that in the very first year of the operation, this plant is operating at a 60% of the capacity. And also, it has a very small investment, and we are almost on the back 2 years payback kind of this project. Second is the coming, so it is more about the serving the India and getting the better market share from of the India in the zinc alloy. Second is the fertilizer. A very interesting fertilizer has been the pet project of the chairman. There are two things. One is that he wants to serve to the our farmers because India imports a lot of fertilizer, so we can also become the self-sufficient. And the making the certified fertilizer require the two key things. One is the acid, and second is the rock phosphate. Hindustan Zinc had its own production of the acid as part of the because we have to remove the sulfur while producing the concentrate to finished goods. So during the sulfur removal process, acids becomes a waste for us, and that waste is basically available for us for the either we have to supply to the fertilizer company or we consume our internally. So that's how the acid is available with us to make the fertilizer. Rock phosphate is available with us from the Rajasthan State Mines Mineral, with whom we signed the MOU for supplying of the 50% of our rock requirement. So we become the very, very cost competitive fertilizer. Also, it gives me the backward integration. As I said at the start, any our kind of company to become and relevant at the lowest cost is to become backward integration. So fertilizer will also make me backward integration because my own acid I will not have to evacuate, because many times we get under pressure that acid has to be evacuated. You can't store, it's a hazardous material, and most of the, any of many of the time we have to stop our smelter due to that. So what we did, this is a strategy to serve to India, Indian farmer, make Atmanirbhar Bharat from the fertilizer point of view, and also use our own acid, which is a hazardous product, more from sustainability point of view, by making the phosphoric acid and the fertilizer. Also, of course, it will add me as a EBITDA as well, better than other fertilizer companies. So every objective, every activity has a multiple objectives.
Let us also dive into AI, automation, digitalization. How is that transforming the mining operations at Hindustan Zinc?
I think we are the only company who publish our digital and use of the technology in the mining publicly in our annual report. So one of the there are so many examples, but I will take few of the example. Uh, so there is a something called automated process controllers. So what are the automated process controllers? So when you do the ore to concentrate, you have to do the beneficiation in the mills. So what used to be some time back, it used to be a person who will decide what blend has to be put up for the various kind of concentrate into the mills. Rather than we have developed along with the Australian company automated process controller. So they manage the whole temperature, they manage the whole blending, which will give the best of the recovery. And with that only, if you see over the last 5 years, our recoveries have improved. This is a one use case and a live example of the how the technology has helped us to improve the production. Second is that in the mines underground, when the blasting happen for the production, during that time, almost for 1.5 hour or 1 hour, there is a smoke, and the person or the operator cannot go there and do the drilling and mining operations for say for 1 hour remains nobody is doing anything. It's idle, I would say. So we have developed the technology. It's called smoke cover drilling. In the smoke cover drilling, where the equipment is there below the earth of the 1 kilometer where our mining operations are happening, blasting happen, and there's a huge smoke. But rather than keeping the equipment idle, we gave the commands from sitting at the surface area to that equipment, and the equipment continues to drill into the mines. So these are the some of the example which we have developed through the technology. That's how our operations have become the more and more dependent, or I will say usable for the AI digital thing. As far as the AI is thing concerned, I have, as I said, the exploration is the area where we are venturing into the use of the AI, where not today what happened, you have to do the GSI, you have to do survey, then you have to do the drilling to get the samples from the whether it contains the ore or zinc or lead or what. Or rather than this, can we do the magnetic surveys? Can we use the AI technology for the purpose where, like from the satellite, somebody can look at the area and see that yes, this is having the history of last millions of the years, this is the area has been developed like this, whether it has to give the hypothesis to develop a mining plan basis that available resources. So this is the player where the AI will come. We have not tied up with at this point of time for use of AI in the exploration, but of course we have met with many of the parties who have come to us that what they can do for us. The key will be what is the predictability, means say if they can give the perfection of the 1995%, it's a good for us. If the perfection comes to 80%, it may not be good for us. That's how the AI will be used. Apart from this, the mining technology, we keep using our AI in our core business operations, like procurement, supply chain, logistics, in the marketing, in our finance process. So that's enabling as of now doing in the core operation. Technology digital is happening, but AI usage is yet to be established.
Sure. And finally, as the CFO, what are your top priorities for the company over the next 5 years?
So, as a CFO of Hindustan Zinc, I see this company. There are 4 5 things. One is whatever we implement in the ESG form with the economic prudence. I have coined this word knowingly, that whatever we are doing the ESG, it will help me reduce the cost, making the products more and more greener and get the better premium. Second, doubling the before that is the doubling the production of the company, so that the everything will get automatically doubled. Getting the companies, India's, or I would say Asia's first tailings recycling plant, which has been already set up at this point of time in Australia from the zinc route, get that set up in India, which can unearth almost 1 million ton of the metal and 3,000 ton of the silver from the tailings without doing any further mining. That is something I am focusing upon. Fourth, is the use of AI and digital to ensure that we are ahead of the curve, and in the mining we become the pioneer to do this. I would like our company to run 100% of the battery operated vehicles, and we have earmarked almost a $1 billion investment for the all 900 equipments which we used to be run on the diesel earlier. So making the company as an energy transition company, precious metal company, a tailings recycling company, doubling the production, fulfilling the 100% requirement of the zinc in India, and become the most admired and most sustainable company, remain the number one in the S&P ranking from all the aspect, and company's profitability remains always like that. We have been generating almost 11 to 12,000 crore of revenue. So priority also remain that how do we continue our rating also triple A rated. So these are the key priorities for the, because ultimately the core operation will deliver. That's how the operation will convert to the financial performance.
It's been so interesting talking to you. Thank you for giving us a deeper insight as to what the business prospects are looking like and what the long-term game plan is. I'm sure shareholders will be well versed now and better prepared for your long-term plans. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to never miss an update from Nirmal Bang.